Hi, Devin from DCON here, and audio has always been a very passionate hobby of mine, and it can be a very expensive one as well, and once you enter that rabbit hole, it can seem never ending. But it can also be very rewarding. Over the past few years, I've been putting together my dream home audio setup, and in terms of mobile audio, I've always opted for just a single player and earphones. And I've yet to find an earphone I love more than Shure's SE846s. The sound that these earphones produce is heavenly, and the low end is incredible. Pairing the SE846s with a quality audio player has always been my go-to, and I've never been happier. And it's funny because I've had a few people actually audition the Shure SE846s, and the interaction always goes the same way. They take the earphones, they put them in their ears, they listen to about half a track, and then they remove the earphones and they're completely blown away. They say it sounds incredible, they want to know where they can buy them and how much they are, and I tell them they're $1,000 and the conversation instantly ends. So that brings the question, can you truly get great audio on the cheap? Can you get that audiophile sound into the average person's hands for an affordable price? Well, it turns out the answer is yes you can, and that's exactly what Linsoul has done here with their latest earphones, the BLON BL-05s. The BLON BL-05 looks amazing. Its housing is constructed from stainless steel and it's utterly beautiful. Honestly, it's one of the most beautiful IEMs I've ever seen, regardless of price. Being metal, they are conducive to heat, so they do get slightly warm over prolonged periods of use, but nothing that is going to cause you to take them out. It's just an ever slight warming sensation, and if you're inside an air-conditioned house, they'll be very cold when you first put them in. The best correlation I can make to this is when you begin using your MacBook Pro for the first time, that cool to the touch it has, these have that same effect. The BL-05s are a second generation product from Linsoul, and it's using their second generation carbon nanotube driver. It's a 10mm carbon driver and it's very impressive. This is the first time I've heard of this carbon nanotube technology, and it's essentially a very rigid carbon driver with zero moving parts, and it utilizes thermoacoustics to generate sound waves. If it sounds complex, it's because it is, and a quick wiki search on thermoacoustics will only confirm that. So it's complicated in nature, and the good people at Linsoul are incredibly smart for creating this, but how does it sound? Well, it sounds incredible. It sounds utterly incredible. The frequency range this is able to cover at this price point is so impressive. The highs are okay, and they actually sound great to a point. And whenever a track has an instrument that produces a pitch above this high frequency point, the driver struggles to recreate it faithfully, and it kind of falters. On the bright side, they aren't overly bright, and they have a smooth roll off, and fatigue was a non-issue for me, which is something I'm usually sensitive to. The low end isn't great. I mean, it's definitely there and it has presence, but it's not controlled at all. It's really boomy and echoey, for lack of a better term. The mids are excellent, and for me are as close as you can get at this price point. At times, they can be a bit harsh depending on the artist, but for the most part, the mids are great. For me, where these earphones really shine is in instrument separation and overall soundstage. The soundstage is surprisingly great for IEMs. Usually in-ear monitors are fairly congested and you don't get much separation among the instruments, and the soundstage presented is fairly narrow. Surprisingly, that is not the case here. Now, these aren't going to sound like an over-the-ear open headphone in terms of wideness, but it's very nice for what they are. You can definitely pinpoint where each instrument is coming from, and you can differentiate between them as multiple instruments are playing together. It is really special. A couple of things I wanted to mention real quick is the connectors and the cable. We have 2-pin connectors at the base of the earphone, and they seem dummy-proof in terms of aligning them with the cable. They fit very snugly, and I honestly am not concerned about their durability as they seem very solid. There's even a generous left and right print to help you align them. And this leads me to the cable. The cable itself is my least favorite thing. It's not that it's a terrible cable, I just personally don't love the length as I prefer shorter cables. And I constantly found it tangling up on itself. It does terminate with this lovely L-shaped gold connector, however, which is always nice to see. And I'm a big fan of the way it wraps around your ear and drops down that way rather than directly from your ear canal, which prevents the earphones from being accidentally ripped out. And if I had to nitpick, the only negative I have is I would prefer a simple visual indicator to help differentiate the left and right earphones. There is a very large left and right printed on the earphone itself, but a simple red and blue color scheme would have made for quicker insertion.
That's what she said!
Linsoul has done the impossible. They've created an earphone that not only feels luxurious, but also sounds incredible. While these won't be replacing my Shure SE846s anytime soon, if they died an untimely death and I was only left with these BLON BL-05s, they would instantly become my daily driver because they sound that great. At just around $45, these represent an incredible value in the audio market, and you should do everything in your power to get a pair. Well, it's been nice. If you've enjoyed this video, send me your likes. If you enjoy my content, send me your subs. I'll see you next time.